You know those riders you spot in traffic who might as well be wearing a neon sign that says, "I just got my license last week"? You know the type. Death grip on the handlebars like they're holding on for dear life, braking like they're trying to stop a freight train from hitting a school bus. Here's the thing. These aren't just harmless rookie quirks. These are the exact mistakes that separate riders who look confident from those who scream inexperience to everyone around them. I've been riding street for over 15 years and coaching new riders for the last 8, and I can spot these mistakes from 3 lanes away. Today, we're breaking down the 7 most common riding mistakes that make you look like a complete rookie, and more importantly, how to fix them. By the end of this video, you'll brake like you've been riding for decades instead of looking like you learned from a video game. Let's start with mistake number 1, the death grip on your handlebars. This is probably the most obvious rookie tell, and it happens because fear and tension transfer directly to your controls. When you're scared or nervous, your body tenses up, and all that tension flows straight through your arms to the bars. Here's what it looks like from the outside. Your arms are rigid, your shoulders are hunched up around your ears, and you're literally fighting the bike through every corner instead of working with it. The bike wants to lean and flow through turns naturally, but you're wrestling it like it's trying to escape from you. You're not arm wrestling the bike. It's not trying to get away from you. The fix is simple but takes practice. You need to develop a relaxed grip that lets the bike do its job. Think about holding the bars like you're holding a small bird. Firm enough that it won't fly away, but gentle enough that you won't hurt it. Your arms should have a slight bend in them, and your shoulders should be relaxed and down. Here's a drill you can practice. While you're riding straight, take one hand off the bars for just a second. Obviously, only when it's safe to do so. If the bike immediately starts wobbling or pulling to one side, you were gripping too tight with that hand. The bike should track straight with minimal input from you. Now let's talk about mistake number 2, on and off throttle control. This is where smooth becomes everything, because abrupt inputs upset your suspension and traction in ways that make you look like you have no idea what you're doing. Rookies do 2 things with the throttle that give them away instantly. First, they chop the throttle mid-corner when they get nervous, which upsets the bike's balance and makes it want to stand up and run wide. Second, they roll on too aggressively coming out of turns, which can break traction or cause the front wheel to get light. Here's why smooth throttle control matters so much. Your bike's suspension is constantly working to keep your tires in contact with the road. When you make sudden throttle changes, you're basically telling the suspension to do 2 different jobs at once. Handle the corner and handle your abrupt input. That's when things get sketchy. The proper technique is progressive roll-on. As you're coming through a corner, you want to maintain steady throttle through the turn. Then gradually and smoothly roll on more throttle as you start to exit. Think of it like you're slowly turning up the volume on a radio. Smooth and gradual, not sudden jumps. Here's how this applies on the street and why it affects your confidence and control in traffic. When you're smooth with the throttle, your bike feels predictable and stable. You can make lane changes without the bike lurching around. You can accelerate out of corners without drama. Other drivers can predict your movements because you're not making sudden speed changes. But when you're choppy with the throttle, everything feels unstable. The bike feels nervous under you, which makes you nervous, which makes you grip the bars tighter, which brings us back to mistake number 1. It's a cycle that feeds on itself. Practice this in a safe area first. Find a gentle curve you can take at moderate speed and focus on maintaining absolutely steady throttle through the entire turn. Then practice gradually rolling on more throttle as you exit. Feel how much more stable and predictable the bike becomes when you're smooth with your inputs. The difference between smooth and choppy throttle control is the difference between looking like you're in control and looking like the bike is controlling you. Mistake number 3 is target fixation, and this one's a silent killer that doesn't just affect beginners. Target fixation is when you stare at something you don't want to hit, and your bike goes straight to it like a heat-seeking missile. You see that pothole and lock your eyes on it? Boom, you hit it dead center. You catch sight of the guardrail and can't look away. Suddenly you're drifting toward it like you're magnetically attracted. Here's why this happens. It's a natural panic response. When your brain perceives danger, it wants to monitor that threat. But here's the problem. Your motorcycle follows your eyes, not your intentions. Where you look is where you go, period. If your gaze is glued to the hazard, that's exactly where you'll end up. The fix requires mental discipline that you have to practice every single ride. When you spot a hazard, acknowledge it quickly, then immediately force your eyes to look toward your escape path. See that pothole? Look at the clean pavement next to it. Notice the parked car? Focus on the open space beyond it. In corners, look through the turn to where you want to exit, not at the pavement right in front of your wheel. Here's a real-world example. You're coming around a corner and there's gravel on the inside of the turn. Rookie mistake is to stare at that gravel while thinking, "Don't hit the gravel, don't hit the gravel." Experienced riders glance at the gravel to register it, then immediately look toward the outside of the turn where there's clean pavement. Guess where each rider ends up? Mistake number 4 is poor lane position, and this is where rookies really show their car driving background. The rookie habit is riding dead center of your lane, like you're still driving a car, but this is completely wrong on a motorcycle. Here's why riding dead center limits your options. You've got no escape routes if something goes sideways. A car starts merging into you, and you've got nowhere to go because you're stuck in the middle. You can't see around traffic as well because you're not using your lane positioning to improve your sightlines. Smart lane positioning means using the whole lane tactically. You've got 3 positions in your lane: left third, center third, and right third. Where you position yourself should depend on what's happening around you and what you need to see or avoid. In traffic situations, here's when to move where. Move to the left third of your lane when you're passing parked cars, or when there's oncoming traffic you want to give extra space. Move to the right third when you're being followed too closely and want to give yourself an escape route to the shoulder, or when you're next to a car that might not see you. Stay in the center third when you need maximum space from hazards on both sides. The key is being active with your positioning, not passive. You're constantly adjusting based on what the road and traffic are throwing at you. Now let's talk about mistake number 5, following too close. This is the tailgating trap where rookies think they need to keep up with traffic flow by gluing themselves to the car in front of them. You're not drafting at Daytona. Back off. Here's why motorcycles need more space than cars. When that car in front hits their brakes, they've got 4 fat tires, anti-lock brakes, and they just mash the pedal. You've got to manage front and rear brake balance, weight transfer, and keeping the bike upright, all while trying to stop. They can stop faster than you can, especially if you panic and grab a handful of brake. The 3-second rule saves lives, and here's how to use it. Pick a fixed point like a road sign or overpass. When the vehicle in front passes it, count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. If you reach that same point before you finish counting, you're too close. Here's the bonus. Proper spacing doesn't just make you safer, it makes you smoother. You can anticipate traffic flow instead of constantly reacting to brake lights. You'll brake less, flow more, and your riding will feel calmer and more controlled. That's what separates confident riders from nervous ones who look like they're always fighting to keep up. Let's dive into mistake number 6, front brake fear. This is where a lot of rookies really show their inexperience, and it stems from one terrifying mental image that every new rider has heard about: going over the handlebars. So they avoid the front brake like it's going to launch them into orbit. Here's the truth that separates rookies from riders who actually know what they're doing. Your front brake does about 70% of your stopping power. When you brake, weight transfers forward, which loads up that front tire and gives it maximum grip. If you're not using your front brake properly, you're throwing away most of your stopping ability and relying on that little rear brake to do all the work. The progressive technique is what makes all the difference. You squeeze, don't grab. Think of it like squeezing a stress ball. You start with light pressure and gradually increase it as you feel the bike respond. Your fingers should roll onto the lever smoothly, not snatch it like you're trying to crush it. Here's a practice drill you can do in any empty parking lot. Start at about 20 miles per hour and practice progressive braking using mostly front brake with just a touch of rear. Feel how the suspension compresses as weight transfers forward. The goal is smooth, controlled stops where the bike stays upright and stable, not dramatic nosedives that make you look like you're about to go over the bars. Now here's mistake number 7, panic braking technique. When rookies panic, They grab a handful of front brake and stomp on the rear, and it's a disaster waiting to happen. Here's what panic braking looks like from the outside. The rider sees trouble ahead, and their brain goes into full panic mode. They grab that front brake lever like they're trying to rip it off the bike. The front suspension dives hard, and usually the rear wheel starts skidding because they're standing on that brake pedal too. The bike gets all wobbly and unstable, and instead of stopping shorter, they actually take longer to stop because they've upset the bike's balance. Here's why this technique fails so badly. When you grab too much front brake too fast, you overwhelm the front tire's grip before the weight has time to transfer forward properly. The suspension dives so hard that the rear wheel gets light, which means that rear brake you're stomping on is just locking up and skidding. You lose control, you lose stopping power, and you look like you learned to brake from a video game. The controlled emergency stop is a skill every rider needs to master, and it's all about both brakes working together with progressive pressure. Here's how it works. You squeeze that front brake progressively but quickly, building up pressure fast but smoothly. At the same time, you're applying firm but controlled pressure to the rear brake. The key is staying upright and letting the bike's weight transfer work for you, not against you. Here's a street scenario where you need this skill. You're cruising along and suddenly the car in front slams on their brakes because a kid ran into the street. This is when you need to stop now, but you need to do it right. Progressive pressure on both brakes, staying calm, keeping the bike upright and stable. No grabbing, no stomping, just smooth, controlled, maximum braking. The difference between panic braking and controlled emergency braking is the difference between looking like a rookie who's about to crash and looking like a rider who has everything under control, even in an emergency. Stop looking like you learned to brake from a video game and start braking like someone who actually knows what they're doing. So there you have it. 7 mistakes that separate confident riders from obvious rookies. You now know how to brake like a pro instead of looking like you're fighting the bike every time you need to stop. These aren't just tips. They're the fundamentals that experienced riders notice immediately. Hit an empty parking lot this weekend and drill these techniques until they become second nature. Subscribe for more riding tips that'll keep you looking sharp on the street. Now get out there and ride like you actually know what you're doing.